Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's time for another week of our Pokemon TCG live online matches, week number 71. I realized I should probably start calling these random matches, because we have two different styles going on. The random battles against random trainers out there. How much more can I say random? And we also have the viewer battles against some random viewers out there, usually recording on Sundays, but this week is one of our standard ones, just going for some unexpected, as opposed to random, trainers out there, as we're going to show off this new strategy. It's going to focus on using Decidueye-GX, as you'll see once we check out the deck. In the deck that I'm calling Creepy Arrows, it's basically a standard version, updated format, updated version of the previous, the Creepy Shuriken deck that I used, using Basic Greninja and the Water Shuriken to put 3 damage counters on something, and Gengar from Breakthrough, I think it is, that can knock out anything that has 3 damage counters on it. But before we get into the deck part, I will say I do have another code from viewer named TP Cubed, a code card for a booster pack of XY Evolutions. And the code for that is down in the description, so feel free to go down there. Again, first come, first serve. Whoever grabs that code can go here to the online game of Pokemon TCG, input that code, and get yourself a booster pack of X and Y Evolutions, and then come back and finish watching the video, because this is a pretty fun deck. I really like this one. So as I say, it's called Creepy Arrows, and the main feature is these 2 Decidueye-GX. Now, fun story. Not fun for me. I don't know if it's going to be fun for you either. I tried my hardest to get a 3rd Decidueye-GX for this deck, because the strategy kind of falls through a little bit if I have one of them prized and I only get one into play. I kept putting up so many trade offers for just one Decidueye-GX. I was offering packs, I'm on packs, Pokémon-EX, rare trainers like Versus Seeker. Nobody would give me a 3rd Decidueye-GX, so that must tell you how special these Pokemon are. I do have 2 in the deck, though. So Decidueye-GX, of course, evolves up from Dartrix to Stage 2. 240 HP, it is a Grass-type Pokemon. The ability Feather Arrow. Once during your turn before your attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now you can do Razor Leaf for a Grass and 2 colorless, doing 90 damage. And your GX attack right here is called Hollow Hunt for a single Grass energy. Put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Basically, think of it like an energy retrieval and Versus Seeker in one, but you can get back anything. You can get back those 2 cards. Energy retrieval, Versus Seeker, and a 3rd one. I really like this. Sometimes you'll see that I use this almost immediately, getting back some really good supporter cards, some trainer cards for the next turn. And anyway, I just love being able to retrieve cards using that. But the main focus of Decidueye-GX is going to be for it to sit on the bench and start flinging off some feather arrows, hitting some targets on the opposing side. And the reason is, it goes well with Gengar. But first of all, I'll show off I have 2 Decidueye. So we got 2 Decidueye-GX, we got 2 Dartrix. Not really here for any purpose other than just to evolve up. And we got 3 Rowlet in the deck, so that is a 3-2-2 line. I also have, to try to speed up the retrieval of these grass types from the deck, I've got 3 Moralol, and I've got 2 Shiinotic. Now, Shiinotic is here because of the ability. Illuminate. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So, something I like to do a little bit sometimes is, I'll have Shiinotic find a Moralol. On the next turn, I can use this Shiinotic again to get, Illuminate, get another Shiinotic out, evolve that one, then that second one can start getting some of the Rowlet and stuff in play. If I have 2 Shiinotic on the bench, I can find 2 grass Pokemon every single turn from within the deck, so it really speeds up getting your Decidueye-GX into play. So there are 3 Moralol, 2 Shiinotic, and here's where your actual attacker, for the most part, is going to be. It is Gengar though this is actually one of the Generations ones. Is the other one from Breakthrough? Let me just see, I'm curious. I think that is Breakthrough, yes it is. Anyway, same kind of thing, same attack, same art. The first attack, Sinister Fog. Alright, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, and put a damage counter on each of the bench Pokemon. That's fine, but Creep Show for a Psychic and Colorless. If your opponent's active Pokemon has 3 or more damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. So, you can probably see where this is going. If I can get 2 Decidueye-GX on the bench, they can each, bing, I love making sound effects, fire those feather arrows off at the active Pokemon, putting 4 damage counters total on it. Then Gengar can Creep Show knock out anything that has at least 3. So that's going to be a good combo if I can get everything into play. I've got 2 Gengar, 2 Haunter, and 3 Ghastly in the deck. Now, let's quickly scroll down to the energy. I was considering putting some double colorless in case I need to power up Decidueye-GX to use the Razor Leaf. I don't really find Decidueye-GX uses the Razor Leaf in this strategy that much, though, so one change I could make maybe is to put a couple double colorless in, but for the most part, For the time being, I should say, we have 10 energy cards. It is going to be 4 basic grass and 6 basic psychic. That's essentially all we need to try to make the strategy work. Now let's check the trainer cards. We've got 1 energy retrieval in here, bringing back a couple of basic energy from the discard pile. An Evo Soda to evolve up some of our Pokemon. 2 level balls to look for any Pokemon of 90 HP or less from within the deck and take it into hand. 2 Nest Balls, one of the new Sun and Moon cards. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it straight onto the bench. So I can help you get some of your basics in play. And if I have, say, Wally in hand, I can put a basic down, Wally immediately into the stage 1 that evolves from that. I've got 2 Professor's Letters, finding 2 basic energy from within the deck. Since this kind of relies a lot on supporter cards, because I don't have draw support, so to speak, I don't have my usual standbys of either the Scorched Earth or the Abyssal Hand of Octillery, I want to try to be able to make sure I can get some of the other supporters that help me get more cards. So I've got 2 random receivers. Search through your deck until you get to a supporter card, put it into your hand, and hopefully it's going to be a supporter that I want to make use of on that turn. I've got 2 of those here in the deck. 2 rare candies, that way I can skip over the Dartrix or Haunter stages to go from Rowlet to Decidueye-GX or Ghastly to Gengar. You know what's kind of crazy though? Using the rare candy, you can go from a 60 HP Rowlet immediately to a 240 HP Decidueye-GX. Isn't that kind of wild? I like it though. Anyhow, those are 2 rare candies. 2 Super Rods, shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from the discard pile back into the deck. 2 Ultra Balls, discard 2 other cards from hand and search your deck for any Pokemon card you want and take it. And I've got 2 Versus Seekers in here as well, getting back a supporter card that I would have already used. Now, they've changed the way it arranges the cards here, so they go into stadium cards now. 2 Forest of Giant Plants, allowing for each player's grass Pokemon to evolve the very turn they come into play, and on that player's first turn as well. So kind of like Wally in a way, but you do need to have them in hand to make use of the Forest of Giant Plants. But, with any luck, I'll have Shiinotic on the bench to be able to find those grass Pokemon every single turn. Now for the supporters, we've got Hal, drawing 3 cards, basically a little bit more draw support for the deck, getting 3 extra cards for the turn. We've got ourselves Alima. Both players shuffle their hand into the deck and then flip a coin. On a heads, you draw 6 cards. On a tails, you draw 3. So we'll see what we get off of the Alima card. We have Lily, draw cards until you have 6 in hand, but if it's your first turn of the game, you get to draw until you have 8 in your hand. She basically overrides Bianca from back in the black and white set. Bianca was basically just a standard draw till you have 6. Well, Lily gives you the option to possibly get 8 on your first turn. And of course, we have a Lysandre, forcing the opponent to switch Pokemon around. You choose a benched one to bring up to the active spot. Very useful for pretty much every deck, I would say. I've fallen victim to it a number of times myself, so I can vouch for how good it is. And we have Pokemon Center Lady, healing 60 HP and a special condition from one of your Pokemon. We've got Professor Sycamore, toss your hand away, grab 7 new cards from the deck. Very useful in certain situations. We've got 2 Skylas, searching your deck for any trainer card and putting it right into your hand. Also very useful in most situations. And there's that Wally card I mentioned. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon, except for EX, and put it onto that Pokemon. You can do that on the very turn you play it. What I like, this specifies Pokemon EX, doesn't say anything about Pokemon GX, because of course they didn't exist yet when Wally was made. Now, technically, there are no Pokemon GX that evolve yet, because you might be thinking Dartrix, right, becomes Decidueye-GX, but technically, Wally would be applying to the Dartrix non-GX. Anyway, so even if there was some sort of ruling where EX and GX are considered the same thing, even though Pokemon.com says they are different, and anything that affects GXs, or anything that affects EXs don't affect GXs, such as Carbink's Safeguard ability. Anyway, Wally would still allow for the non-GX Dartrix to evolve into a GX. Anyway, all that aside, there are 2 final cards, a couple of Poison Barbs. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is active and is damaged by an opponent's attack, the attacking Pokemon is now poisoned. So another way I could get around the problem of possibly having a Decidueye-GX prized. Of course, we can only put 2 damage counters for each Decidueye-GX. If one is prized, it's going to take 2 full turns to really get enough feather arrows off to weaken the active Pokemon to the point Gengar can knock it out. But if we can give Gengar the Poison Barb and the opponent hits Gengar for damage, the poison then affects the active Pokemon. It takes 10 from poison. Then Decidueye-GX can add those 2 remaining damage counters, and Gengar can Creep Show and knock it out. So that is the deck strategy. I've got 19 Pokemon, 31 trainers, and 10 energy cards. It's now time to see how well the Decidueye-GX and Gengar combo can do in this week's Pokemon TCG live online match. Alright, let's see how our creepy arrows do against Thorado with a Psychic, Dragon, Darkness, and Colorless deck. Apparently we've got the advantage. Who knew? Now, something I didn't mention in the deck builder, almost a team builder, is things that shut down abilities pretty much destroy most of my strategies, because abilities are one of my favorite things in Pokemon TCG. So, not being able to use the abilities that I put into the deck really hinders my strategies. Now, I could still sort of get around it in a way, using the Sinister Fog of Gengar, but still, I'm going to take the first turn. I would rather be able to use the Feather Arrows, of course. So, off the top, we find just one basic Pokemon in hand. It is going to be Rowlet. Let's drop it down. I should probably get the random receiver first and see what supporter I find. You see the opponent is starting off with, well, 2 Pokemon. The lead Pokemon is going to be a Pokémon-EX. How about that, folks? Let's grab that random receiver and find ourselves a Professor Sycamore. Well, I might have to make use of that. Let us play the Nest Ball first here. We will get a Moralol. And I'm going to let that Rowlet take the hit. I'm going to go for another Nest Ball, grab another Rowlet, and drop that onto the bench. I'm going to put a Grass Energy onto the Rowlet, and let's now play Sycamore. See what else we can find. We got Rare Candy, another Moralol. I will drop that. I'll put the Ghastly down as well. What I should do next? I could Versus Seeker for another Sycamore, but I've got 2 Rare Candies in hand. I don't want to really lose those. Probably the best bet. If I could Skyla for Evo Soda, I could evolve one of the Moralol into Shiinotic, search with the Illumination, or Illuminate. Oh, don't end me away! No! I need these cards. Actually, I wouldn't mind being end right now. Alright, see what I can find. 6 cards instead. Give me a Shiinotic. I will take that. And find a Dartrix. Actually, we find Skyla and 2 Rare Candies again. And there's the Evo Soda. Perfect. So I'm going to Evo Soda up into Shiinotic. There are 2 in the deck. Down we go. We're going to use the Illuminate to find the second one. And right there, we got 2 Decidueye-GX in the deck, which is very good. I don't have energy cards yet. I could play How, though. I'm wondering what I should do here. I'm definitely going to go for the Decidueye-GX. I'm going to probably play... Well, hang on. I could use Skyla to get energy. Let's Rare Candy the Active Rowlet. Yeah, and I'm going to evolve this one using Dartrix, and I'll put Ghastly on the bench as well. Now let's grab Skyla and go for Professor's Letter, getting some energy out. Alright, now we're going to grab a Grass and Psychic. I'll attach a Grass Energy to the active Decidueye-GX. I'm going to use the Feather Arrow to put 20 on the Darkrai-EX. And I can use Hollow Hunt immediately. I'm going to grab myself the Evo Soda. I can grab Haunter, actually. I'll grab... Actually, hang on a sec. I can get that Rare Candy back. I still have 1 in hand, though, don't I? I do. So I'm going to grab Skyla, get rid of Haunter. Professor's Letter will be pretty good. Thank you very much. Saying I have a very good deck. And let's go with Sycamore, I guess. Or do I want that? Yeah, I'll get Sycamore. I'm going to send a nice little happy face for the thank you. Alright. So, if I could Rare Candy into Gengar... Well, I need 2 energy cards to be able to use the attack of... Whatchamacallit? Creep Show. The whole deck is named after Creep Show. I can't even think of it? Come on. Alright, so what we can do here... I'm going to attach energy onto the Ghastly. I'm going to go for the Professor's Letter. Grab just a couple of energy that I need to discard. I'm going to leave the active Decidueye-GX to take the hits. I don't like to do it, but unfortunately I kind of have to. Let's grab another Decidueye-GX. We will evolve the bench Dartrix. See, this is where having one of them prized would be sort of detrimental, because I can't get off both Feather Arrows on a single turn. Alright, so I'm going to go for Skyla. I'm going to grab ourselves an Ultra Ball if it's in here. There it is. And what do we discard? I'm going to, since I've attached an energy, I'm going to discard the 2 Grass Energy. Grab ourselves a Gengar. We can Rare Candy the not active, but the Energized Ghastly into Gengar. And I'm gonna then shuffle in some cards from the discard pile. A couple of energy. I'll just get all 3 energy. No, you know what? I'm gonna grab the Espeon Psychic Energy and a second Psychic plus a Grass. And at this point, all we need to do is go for Feather Arrow, get some damage off. Fire off a second Feather Arrow. So doing 40 damage every turn to the Darkrai-EX. Now, just to thin the deck a little bit, get a Grass type out. I'll use that to get Dartrix. That way I don't risk drawing into it when I can draw a more useful card, you know? And that is that. So I need to get energy to be able to retreat the Decidueye-GX, because we're going to be taking, how much? 60 damage if they put a second Darkness on. Starting, ooh, they got rid of 2 double Dragon Energy. That could have added another 40 damage to your Dark Pulse. Interesting. And there's Shaman. Alright, they're getting rid of the energy cards, I see. I still say they probably should have put a double dragon onto that Giratina. Oh well. Okay, Max Elixir. Actually, this might not be bad for them. It's going to give as much energy if they had found a Darkness Energy. And we have, ooh, so Dragon types have free retreat. There's that Hex Maniac. See, I told you. Things that shut down abilities interfere with my strategy so much. So they can do 100 next turn. Now, I've got 1 energy in the discard pile. Skyla. What is the best thing to do here? Is there another Professor's Letter left? Or I've used both of them. I've only used 1, but I think I only saw 1 in the deck. I'm going to take a chance on Sycamore. Let's toss this all away. I hate losing a Versus Seeker, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and I find no energy, but I have an energy retrieval. Who do I not mind losing? I think the Shiinotic have done their job. I'm going to attach this to the Decidueye-GX. I'm going to retreat into one of the Shiinotic. And they should, with 1 more energy, or I think 2 more energy, they will get the knockout on Shiinotic. Let's see what we find with the random receiver. Pokemon Center Lady, that is useful. Let's play a level... No, you know what? There's no Pokemon left in the deck, is there? So there are 2 energies in the discard pile. I could Versus Seeker for Skyla. I can do that next turn, though. I'll end it right here. And I can use Skyla to find a energy retrieval. If and when the Shiinotic does fall, I can then bring up Gengar and Creep Show knock out this Darkrai. There is the knockout. Alright, so it does 20 plus 20 more for each energy. I get ya. Which means we're probably going to lose our first Gengar. Well, hang on. This thing's at 60 damage. Yeah, let's go for the knockout. I might not win this fight because we have the weakness to darkness on Gengar right here. But, oh, there's Skyla. We don't need Versus Seeker right now. Let's go with Skyla, grab an energy retrieval. Don't tell me they're not here. Oh, boy. Well, that changes things up now, doesn't it? Let's grab a Poison Barb. Well, I can freely retreat, though, which I'm going to do. We'll put a Poison Barb on the Gengar. What else can we do in this situation? Just fling out a couple more arrows, I guess. It's going to get them to 100 damage. How am I running out of energy this quickly? They must all be prized. Like, I've only got 2 in the discard pile, right? Yeah. Let's shuffle those 2 back in. Give us a better chance to draw some of those back. And let's grab Haunter, I guess. Actually, this is not bad. I'm going to level ball right now. Let's grab Haunter. I'm going to be thinking strategies on the fly. I can confuse the active Darkrai-EX. If I can play Haunter, there we go. Let's confuse the both of them. And that is going to be it for the turn. So I've got no energy retrievals. Did I actually use both of them and not realize it? I've used 1. I only have 1. What am I thinking? Right. Now I'm just remembering my own deck building part. So you can do a lot of damage now with that Darkrai-EX. 120, unless you hit yourself. Which I'd be okay with. Feel free to hit yourself. I've got 15 cards left in my deck. I haven't taken a prize yet. I gotta discard a Pokemon. Oh no. This is actually really bad. I'm gonna have to get rid of the Haunter. Why would you do that? I need all my Pokemon on my bench. Oh well. Well played, Stadium. And they do the retreat, so they're gonna get the knockout on Shiinotic. You can't evolve just yet unless you have Wally, but I think you played Sycamore this turn. Oh, they don't get the knockout yet. What is your HP? 70. What does this affect? Okay, it doesn't really bother me at this point having that Stadium where it is. I'm going to keep this Stadium in hand, although I could play it and get Lily. But we need to find energy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this out. And I'm going to play Lily to draw 3 more cards. We do get some energy. Let's give this to the Gengar. We're going to start flinging some arrows at, I guess, this Darkrai-EX. It is the biggest threat for the time being. Although, you know what I should have done? Hit this thing. Because if they do get Garbodor in play and attach a tool to it, I can no longer use the arrows. But we'll still hit this thing as it is. And if and when Gengar takes the active spot, we can simply go for the Creep Show and get a knockout at least. And they're powering up that Darkrai-EX there. Okay, there's the evolution. Do we see the tool? We see the tool. As I say, things that shut down abilities. Oh, come on. Oh, wait a minute. Alright, we can still get a knockout on this active one. I'll do that. So they get 2 prizes, of course, that is a GX being knocked out. So in this case, can I really do anything? I think I've used both Super Rods. And we don't have a Gengar in the discard pile yet. I've used both Super Rods. I can't get the other Ghastly back, but I could Versus Seeker for Skyla and see if I can find a way to get a Ghastly on the bench. What do we have to show, Skyla? Come on, give me something useful. Level Ball, I'll take that. Now, we will need to evolve. I think I've used both rare candies. I'll need to evolve into Haunter and then Gengar. But they are all in the deck. Now, let's drop the Ghastly down. Put an energy onto it here. Let's go for the Creep Show knockout on the Darkrai-EX. If nothing else, that gives us something. 2 prizes to work with. An energy and a Lima. So as soon as this thing comes up, it is going to get the knockout on us. There it is. But it is to the point that we can take it down with another Creep Show. If I could get the Haunter in hand, I could then Wally into Gengar. It's kind of risky. What are they going to go for? What are you going to knock out my Decidueye for? Come on. If we survive this, that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. I can just retreat. Let us do that. Attach Decidueye, retreat into the Gengar, and go for the knockout. Creep Show. 2 more prizes being taken, courtesy of Gengar, Ultra Ball, and Rowlet. Perfect. I can get another Gengar in play if necessary. And up comes the free retreat, Hydreigon-EX. They can shred for 80. We would survive 1 hit. It would get poisoned. We might still be able to pull this one around. Okay, they go for an Ultra Ball. We got 7 cards left in our deck. Come on, let's do this. What are you going to get? Shaman EX, maybe? Wait for it, wait for it. Oh, nothing? Alright, so can't use the ability. I was going to say, do I want to confuse them? But it doesn't matter. I can't anyway. Let's Wally up into Gengar. Because why not? Although it does weaken the cards in my deck, or lessen the cards in my deck. I'll attach this onto the Gengar, and let's just go with... I guess let's go with the Sinister Fog. Poison the active Pokemon, 10 damage on each of the benched ones. If only we could get 1 arrow fired off, we would put 20 damage on anything else, or anything really, and then Lysandre it up. And looks like the opponent is kind of grasping at straws. Not to talk like, condescending or anything like that, but like they're trying to... They have no other cards in hand, and they're really at a loss of what to do at this point. I would really like to be able to take that Float Stone off of that Garbodor, go for a nice Feather Arrow KO, but that is not going to happen. Let's just go ahead and do another Sinister Fog. Now, this could be one last chance for them to do something. They can freely retreat this Hydreigon, too. Stall things out a bit. Thank you! Also, a nice happy heart. It is the day after Valentine's Day. And here we go with the Creep Show KO, getting my last 2 prizes. So it's kind of a sloppy play, but you saw I still was able to overcome having no abilities to make use of, thanks to Garbotoxin, one of the biggest banes of any of the decks that I create. But you see the idea of, when the abilities are working, pinging off those Feather Arrows, putting 4 damage counters on anything, and then Gengar can Creep Show KO anything, despite the fact that they did put a Fury Belt on that Darkrai-EX. Anything with 3 damage falls to the Creep Show. And there we have it. So that is going to be a wrap for this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match number 71, featuring the Feather Arrows of Decidueye-GX and the Creep Show of Gengar. Pretty decent combo. I like stuff like this where, as long as you can keep your abilities in play, as opposed to the opponent Garbotoxicing them into immunity or whatever, then you can use all of your cool abilities and cool strategies, and maybe an unexpected thing. Like, how many people would expect Feather Arrow to be the main focus of Decidueye-GX? You might be thinking the GX attack is going to be the Pokemon-GX's focus. Not with this deck. I like Gengar getting the knockouts. But that is, as I say, a wrap for this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match. If you have any requests, well, before we say requests, first of all, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like down below, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of the deck strategy, and you have any suggestions on how to improve this strategy for future use, because if anyone wants to sort of recreate this for themselves in the online game, or even in the real cards, whatever suggestions you have for improvement could help them kind of fine-tune this and make it a little bit more consistent and a little more viable in the competitive format. Like I said earlier, I think putting a couple double colorless energy could probably help, because you can use that to power up either the Creep Show for Gengar, you need 1 Psychic and 1 any energy, but could also let you power up the Razor Leaf for 90 damage of Decidueye-GX with 1 Grass and a double colorless. Essentially, Decidueye-GX itself could do 110 every turn by Feather Arrowing for 20 and then hitting for another 90 with the Razor Leaf attack. So that could be one strategy you could sort of put in to improve this, but anything else you have to suggest for this deck, feel free to drop those in the comments down below for anyone out there that wants to try to fine-tune this a little bit more for themselves. Now, with that, it is now time to get your suggestions. Which Pokemon GX would you like to see me use in next week's video? I have them all lined up right here. Of course, we got Espeon GX, we have Gumshoos GX, there is Incineroar GX, Lapras GX, Lunala GX, Lurantis GX, Primarina GX, Solgaleo GX, Tauros GX, and we already looked at Umbreon in our first video last week, so anything else you want to see me use, just let me know. There's a lot of Pokemon GX to choose from, and initially I used to do these videos and I would say I want to shy away from the Pokemon EX because they're too powerful, you know? You just drop them down on the bench, they're ready to roll, but I like using the GXs because generally they do need to evolve up from something, so there is a bit of a drawback to using them, but you get a nice little bonus in using the GX attack. So I like these GXs, they're pretty cool. They're basically like break evolutions to me, but they give up 2 prizes when they're knocked out, which is sort of the drawback to them as well. Anyway, all that rambling aside, let me know which of the Pokemon GX you'd like to see me use for next week, and hopefully I'll be able to get the trades accomplished. I would expect if I offered up the Decidueye-GX for 1 or 2 other GXs, I could probably get that trade, you know? People seem to really want to hang on to their Decidueye-GXs, so I could probably get those quite easily. Anyway, all that being said, I want to say thanks for watching today's episode, and stay tuned to the outro for some other... Well, before I say that, I never say this. Down in the description, there is a link to the entire playlist of Pokemon TCG Live Online matches if you want to just go to scroll back and check out some of my, I guess, more rookie ideas. Not that I'm a pro now, but I'm decent, I guess, and I have fun with it anyway, so if you want to check out some previous strategies, there's a link in the description to the entire playlist, of course, and during the outro, there'll be some links to some other videos that I have done on the channel, such as Pokemon Moon playthrough currently on the go. We've got weekend Pokemon Sapphire videos, weekly Pokemon news update video thingies, and of course, weekly Pokemon TCG live online matches, with every other week being a series of viewer battles against you folks out there. Plus, there's a link to subscribe to the channel to get updates whenever I am uploading a new video, as well as the usual Sunday evening videos where I ask for opponents from the viewers and we do some viewer battles for the following week. All that good stuff. Anyway, with all that, Professor Chaz is now done for the day. I think it's time to sign off, edit this video, get it ready for upload, so I'll do just that. Anyway, I am signing off. I want to say once again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.